compared, listen to this, a bipartisan majority of senators to literal traitors. How profoundly unprecedented. He called millions of Americans his domestic enemies.
Wow, the top Republican in the Senate tearing into President Biden after he compared Americans who disagree with him to racists and terrorists. And it's not just Republicans who took offense to the president's remarks.
Yeah, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee joins us now. Governor, great to see, as always. To follow up on what Carly said, you had Dick Durbin, no conservative, and you had Al Sharpton, really no conservative, excoriating sort of the president for his speech. Wasn't Biden's tone really indicative of somebody who knows he has lost, but is really just screaming and shouting to appease the progressives, to basically be like, look, I'm doing something?
When you lose Al Sharpton and Dick Durbin, you've really lost the debate. I mean, this is insane. I don't think Joe Biden knows what he's really saying in these speeches. Somebody else wrote it. He's handed the script on a teleprompter. He squints. He screams at the teleprompter when he makes his speeches. But I really don't think that Joe Biden is cognizant of what he's saying and the impact of it. When you start just saying that anyone who disagrees with him on the Georgia voting law is somehow worse than Bull Connor and George Wallace in the 60s, who, by the way, both were Democrats. I mean, this is crazy town stuff. Yeah. And this is the same Joe Biden. And I think Mitch McConnell was right to point it out that just a year ago was saying, hey, we need to bring the temperature down. We need to bridge this great gap in the country. Well, he just drove a great big bulldozer right through that gap and made it a lot bigger.
It's a great point. And, Governor, why do you think President Biden would be pushing election reform at all when it's unlikely to pass? So he fails on Build Back Better, and he risks going into the midterms a double loser.
It's really hard to understand, other than he's got some folks who are living in the White House who are handing him these speeches who are in an altered state of reality. The fact is, this is a disastrous direction for the Democrats. When you start calling half of America racist and bigots, even some of the people on your own side, you're saying they're bigots too, domestic terrorists. The one thing that is coming out of this is that Republicans are finally showing up to the battle, and they're pushing back as they should. I was really proud of Mitch McConnell. The only way you can stop this nonsense is to not just be benign about it, but to be bold in pushing back and saying, this is crazy, this is nonsense, and we are not going to tolerate being called racist. Because quite frankly, Carly, when everything is racist, nothing is racist. And that's where we're headed in this country.
Absolutely right about that.
From Joe Biden appearing to be a double loser to the Republicans turning this into a big win. Listen to this. Senate GOP re-election arm hauling in a record $104 million last year. That's the off year. This is the big year for actually raising the money because the midterms are this year. How worried should that make Democrats?
They ought to be crawled up under the bed in a fetal position over this. This is not a good sign for them. And the fact is, fundraising at this point of a campaign typically is indicative of the big donors and what I call the traditional political donors who are always going to be hit up for the big money early on. And when they give, they're not necessarily giving to what they want to see happen. These are people who are giving to what they think is going to happen. And they'll give to either side, but they'll give to the side they think is going to win because that's going to ingratiate them. That is very revealing and telling in these numbers.
And, you know, Governor, we have about 15 seconds left, but one piece of advice for the president, his poll numbers right now, 33% approval.
Be a healer, not a squealer. That's the advice I would give him.
That sounds like very good advice. And he is the president who said that he would be a president to all people and unite the country. Fast forward 1 year, and he's calling half the country a bunch of racists for not wanting to federalize election laws. Governor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We so appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.